Another story making news on the front of the Oz tomorrow. Taylor warns of Euro-style gas crisis. Energy Minister Angus Taylor will warn the energy crisis facing Europe could happen in Australia unless new gas fields are opened up, as he unveils budget funding to accelerate the development of 7 projects. And also making news on the front of the Oz, Modi defies PM on Russia request. Scott Morrison urged his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi on Monday to take a firmer stand on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. But the Indian Prime Minister declined to condemn the actions of his country's close strategic partner. Gem, look, we saw a lot of news coming out late this evening around the discussions with Modi and the future commercial trade deals that we will be doing with India moving forward. Good on Morrison for actually calling on this.
Absolutely. I mean, he's not responsible, obviously, for how Modi responds and how he reacts to that, request. It's just another, I guess, example of how much diplomacy, modern diplomacy, really is a bit of an ass, and by an ass I mean donkey. I mean, the Prime Minister has said what he needed to say. He was forthright. He was, very strong in his position. What's India going to turn around and do all of a sudden? Going to stab its diplomatic strategic partner in the back. What's happening in the Ukraine is an absolute... It is the epitome of a tragedy, and the fact that it's 2022 and Putin's getting away with it. Have we learned anything since the Second World War? I don't know that we have.
No, not by the looks of it at all. Look, it's on the record though, so at least, like you say, international diplomacy is always about the fluff, and he's definitely put something on the record which matters. Over to The Age now, where the splash tomorrow is energy giant warns over state plan to turn off gas. Energy giant ExxonMobil is warning millions of Victorians who rely on gas for heating, cooking and hot water face the threat of price rises and possible supply shortages if the Andrews government proceeds with a proposal to halve gas use by the end of the decade. United States-based ExxonMobil, operator of the Bass Strait oil and gas fields off Victoria's coast, is increasingly concerned about the prospect of aggressive targets to slash gas consumption as the government builds a strategy to reduce the state's high reliance on the fossil fuel. This will go down like a proverbial lead balloon tomorrow, Gem, considering everyone cannot stop talking about cost of living. This is only going to spook the electorate.
Look, this is the extraordinary thing about Victoria. It's the state that people are literally fleeing from, and at the highest level of internal migration out of a state in decades and generations. People are literally abandoning the joint left, right and centre. And this government is a dangerous socialist government. They don't seem even remotely concerned about plunging their population into energy poverty. They don't seem concerned about the impact on the industry that relies on energy. If you don't think energy security is important, have a look at Europe. Like, have a look at what's happening. We just talked about the Ukraine. Have a look at what's happening there right now and do the math. It is extraordinary, the stupidity of what happens when ideology overtakes pragmatism and realism. Ask someone in a marginal life circumstances, Jenna. This is the extraordinarily stupid thing about this socialist government that I've never really understood. On the one hand, they're like, we're for all the people, trust us, whatever. But these policies hurt the most vulnerable. If you're a person in marginal employment, insecure employment, perhaps a single parent family, that kind of thing, low income earner, pensioner, and then all of a sudden your bills skyrocket because there's an ideological push to exit from gas. Who do you think's going to be hurt by this? Yeah. Not the elites living in the inner city suburbs of Melbourne who are like slapping themselves on the back as they drink their almond latte and eat their smashed avo. It's just bollocks.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see.
I just said bollocks.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Interesting to see how this will land tomorrow, and then further ramifications with a federal campaign, that's for sure.